All right, and joining us now is Gary Miliefsky, CEO of SnoopWall and a cybersecurity expert. Gary, good to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me here, Michelle. I appreciate it.
Gary, the Sony hack has been creating a lot of buzz. The DPRK has denied involvement, but did call it, quote, a righteous deed. As we mentioned earlier, a group called Guardians of Peace released some of the confidential information, and a group called Lizard Squad has claimed responsibility for the hack on the Sony PlayStation site. Who do you think is behind the attack, and what is the motive here?
Well, I think these two attacks, one on the PlayStation Network and one on the inside of Sony Pictures, are two separate groups. The one for Sony Pictures, I believe, is the 6,000-member army, the cyber army of the North Korean government.
Well, Gary, so far the FBI has said that it has found no link to the DPRK or North Korea, yet you say that when we spoke earlier, innovative malware was used. What makes you think that this was an attack by the DPRK?
Well, only since the Stuxnet attack, malware that was designed to actually harm a nuclear facility, have we seen such physically damaging malware.
But more specifically beyond that, what leads you to believe that this is the work of the DPRK?
Well, again, it takes a very, very intelligent team to develop malware that wipes entire hard drives after they've worked their way into a corporate network behind a firewall, stealing trillions of bytes of data, and then cleaning up the mess by destroying hard drives to a level that made it very difficult for the FBI and others to do forensics.
And the motive is supposedly anger or revenge about the movie, which was a comedy about the assassination of leader Kim Jong-un.
The concept of, or we'll call it the cult of personality surrounding Kim Jong-un is so big and popular and powerful in his culture that to challenge him as a demigod, to make fun of him, to insult him, is not a good thing. And in this film, they actually have the concept of taking him, a world leader, out, as the CIA agent in the movie says, which means to assassinate him.
All right, well, Gary, this motive, perhaps one of pride, perhaps one of revenge, but what is the biggest overall motive when it comes to cyber attacks? Is it financial gain?
Usually, cyber attacks are based on financial gain. If we look at the statistics from World Bank, $500 billion in banking fraud have occurred in the past year. That's a huge number. That's $500 billion in bank fraud.
Well, bank fraud is an increasing problem. So are financial institutions then the biggest targets usually?
The financial institutions are a huge target. But if we look at privacyrights.org, the site that tracks all of the identity breaches in America, we're looking at 930 million records stolen in the United States alone. Citizens...
Go ahead. And in fact, a data loss database is saying that this year is set to replace last year as the highest year on record for exposed records, with an increase of more than 60% in just the first half of this year alone. Gary, why are we seeing such a dramatic increase? Are the hackers becoming more sophisticated, or are we becoming less sophisticated, or a combination of the two?
Michelle, we're trading convenience for privacy and security. Every mobile device, every smartphone, every tablet is a doorway into either your bank account, your credit card, or your identity. And as a result, the hackers have so many new ways in. It's a feeding frenzy for cyber criminals this year.
All right, so what is the best way to protect yourself? Are apps just making us very vulnerable to smartphone hacks? And what can we do about this?
Well, it's a little bit different on an iPhone or a Windows phone than an Android, but they're all susceptible to exploitation. The best thing you can do, Michelle, how many apps do you think the average consumer installs on their smartphone?
Well, a lot more than me, which is a BlackBerry, but I'm going to go with the 15, 20.
Sure, we install 15 to 20 apps. Our devices come with another 20. We're looking at almost 50 apps on the device, and we only use about 3 to 5 every day. So the best thing to do is get rid of those apps from places you don't know, from companies that may not exist with a corporate website. They have a Gmail account. really clean up your smartphone and clean up your tablet. That's the best thing to do right now.
All right, well, Gary, very quickly, that's something that we can do. But, you know, it's been a little over a year since Target suffered a massive data breach. Are retailers more geared for this holiday shopping season? Are they better prepared? What should they be doing?
They are absolutely not prepared. And as you've seen in all these breaches, retailers go into a reactive mode. They need to get more proactive. They need to harden their wireless routers. They need to put the data in places that's harder for hackers to find. They're acting like banks. They're taking your personal information, your debit card, your credit card, your name, your address. So they need to do a better job. They need to think and act like banks.
All right, well, until they do that, that's not very comforting. We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much. Gary Miliefsky, CEO of SnoopWall and a cybersecurity expert.